Hey, what's up? It's Malta Master, and I'm gonna be doing the next episode, the stupid shit I did when I was a teenager. And this episode is about the time that I was 17 and I turned my classmates into Yu-Gi-Oh cards. So I was in the 11th grade, second half, and I had two classmates, Andros and Yohendi. I alter the names of everybody in this video to hide their identity. Me, Andros, and Yohendi found an app that you could, pretty much make Yu-Gi-Oh cards and extremely accessible and easy to use. So we made a group chat and we started making Yu-Gi-Oh cards out of our classmates. Then we would use as the photo, we'll use an embarrassing picture of the classmate and we'll give them a nickname and we would give them stats too. There was the attack points, defense points, and if I remember, I think there might have even been hit points, like health. I can't remember, but we will put a description of what their attacks would do. And these cards were insulting. These were memes of my classmates, pretty much. I remember there was this dude, Aaron, and he had a really bad breath, so I took delivery of making a card calling him Flamethrower Aaron, and pretty much had a high ass attack power. His attack was he opened his mouth and he melts the motherfucker in front of him. And I think he probably had low defense and health points. I can't really remember. But there was one that Yohendi made about our classmate Mateo. As supposedly Mateo was really bad at Call of Duty. I don't know, because I stopped playing COD when I was in middle school, so I never played with this dude. But they called him negative KD Mateo. That's the card Yohendi made, and pretty much was the weakest card we ever made. Then Andros made two, right? Where he asked us to send him photos of these two chicks that went to our school, and then he made them right there. And one of them was about this chick, Veronica, right? And the other one was about this chick, Jojo. When we sent those photos to Andros, Andros said, "I'm going to work. I'm telling you, you're gonna love this shit." And we were pretty shocked at what this dude gave us. The one about Veronica, so Veronica, she was a little taller, a little thicker, a little hairier, and Andros put that as the name that she's a Sasquatch. That was crazy, dude, that he would do that. And as far as JoJo, listen, this was years ago. This was what, 6-7 years ago. We don't condone this. We don't condone racism. We don't think that way. That was just, we were trying to be funny back then. We were trying to be funny, we're dumb high schoolers, really immature high schoolers. So what Andros had made out of JoJo, who's black, by the way, JoJo's black chick, Andros put as her name Nigger Big Lips Dragon. That's what he did. I didn't do that. That wasn't me. That she was the N-word Big Lips Dragon. That wasn't me. And even if that was me, dude, I would say, dude, that's not how I think. We thought it was really funny. As a matter of fact, when we showed that to our classmates, that probably was one of the funniest ones to our classmates. And of course, you know, she was a powerful ass demon or card. And there was a couple more I made. I remember there was this kid, Noodles. This kid knew he was American. He was born here. He was an Americanized motherfucker. He was born here. He used to act like he was from Cuba. So, well, I put wannabe ref Noodles was his card, and the motherfucker pretending he's from Cuba. I don't know if ref is only a Miami term or everybody across the country knows it, but ref is somebody who just moved here from some Hispanic country like Puerto Rico or something. And yeah, there was more. There was a couple. There was a lot more. As a matter of fact, we made a card. About probably 35 classmates in our grade. Our grade was only 100 students because we went to a small school. But me, Andros, and Yohendi, we made cards about ourselves, but they weren't insulting us. They were praising us. I remember mine. It's pretty lame, honestly, looking back at it. But I put the roast king, because that's what I used to do when I was in 11th grade. I used to roast people all day, and put like, my attack is I'll roast you to death, some shit like that. And yeah, it was the strongest card. And yeah, we made a whole bunch of cards, dude. And at this point, we're starting to say, man, you know, we gotta take this to the next level. So we spent a couple of days just discussing. We were planning. This wasn't just like flirting with the idea. We were serious about this. While we're talking about it in depth for a few days, and all talking about how we're gonna fund it. And we were gonna print Yu-Gi-Oh! We're gonna print these cards, dude, and distribute them in the school. Distribute them to our classmates, and we were gonna make 10 copies of everybody's card, but the cards about us, we would only make one copy, and we would be the ones that have them. And we were pretty much just gonna I guess battle people when we were in lunch and free time. That was the idea. And while this discussion is going on, at the same time, Veronica I saw her doing something that really upset me. Her and her friends were bullying one of my classmates, and I thought that kid that was being bullied was a really nice kid and he didn't deserve it. And I just had to do something about it. I wasn't just gonna sit there and watch this. So as soon as the bell rang, it was time to change to the next class. I went to the counselor's office and I told the counselor everything that had happened right there. How the Veronica was doing. I'm not gonna get in depth with the story of what happened. That's all in the past, okay? But point is, it was, you know, the kid was being recorded as well. So like, to add insult to injury, that's being done. And for about a week, Veronica is in and out of the counselor's office. She's in the counselor's office 2 to 3 times a day. Her friends, the people in her clique, they probably only went once or twice because Veronica was the leader and she was the main bully. So she was the one being interrogated. So after, you know, during this week that's going on, and me and my classmates are in the works of this whole, you know, Yu-Gi-Oh shit, this whole Yu-Gi-Oh fiasco. I don't know why I just said that word. What the fuck does fiasco even mean? I get called into the counselor's office, and I'm going to the counselor's office. I'm thinking, I don't know if this is about the Yu-Gi-Oh cards, dude, but it might be. So I walk inside, and sorry, the counselor and the vice principal, the assistant principal, whatever, they're there wanting to talk to me. And while I sit down, right, and I don't know how these two people didn't process in their head what I was doing. But when I sat down, I went on my phone and I deleted all the Yu-Gi-Oh cards in recent history, the past 2 weeks. I deleted them right in front of their face. And I swear to God, as soon as I turned my phone on after I finished that, dude, like probably 5 or 10 seconds later, they asked me if they could see my phone. And I give them my phone, I put the password in, and they're looking through my photos. And they don't see nothing, right? But then I see the assistant principal. And he goes down a little deeper, and he finds Yu-Gi-Oh cards in there about my classmates. Cause I had so many, dude, that I didn't even realize that there were still in the pictures in the gallery. You just had to dig a little deeper. And they found the cards, and the vice principal said, got it. It turns out that Veronica, who hated me, had gotten off scotch-free because she just threw me under the bus. She told them, if you let me go, I will tell you what this other student is doing with these Yu-Gi-Oh cards. And they agreed. They just said, it doesn't matter what you did to the kid that you were harassing, that you were fucking with. You know, they just let her off. And honestly, dude, I would have done the exact same thing. I totally would have thrown somebody under the bus. I totally would have snitched on somebody to get the heat off of me, because, you know, first, you know, me and Veronica weren't friends. Veronica hated me, so it only makes sense. You smell me? Point is, the consejera turned she flipped the what's the computer monitor around, and she's showing me she got the Yu-Gi-Oh cards in PDF format. Like when you open a PDF, she had those shoes just scrolling down those shits. It looked mighty professional, I might add. And she's showing me all the Yu-Gi-Oh, some of the Yu-Gi-Oh cards I made, and then they're pointing at these cards and they're saying, look at this kid, you're bullying this kid. And they're pointing at a motherfucker who was my closest friend in 11th grade. And then they let me go. We had a talk about it, and I said that I'm not gonna do it anymore. And they let me go. And right before I left, the vice principal told me, hey, I seriously recommend you clean up that gallery. And he was talking about all the pictures I was taking of me smoking weed when I was 17 was when I take pictures of that. I don't take pictures of that anymore. You know, because I used to have to document all that shit. I had to show everybody how cool I am, you know. So, moral of the story is, don't make memes out of your classmates, dude. That is such a stupid idea. As a matter of fact, I actually told this moral of the story in a previous episode The episode where I made a Instagram account just to roast my classmates, where I roasted 3 classmates. So that happened a year prior. So I should have already learned I should have learned my lesson, but I didn't. I'm still doing that shit. But no, nothing on social media or anything of that sort. The way people found out about these Yu-Gi-Oh cards, everybody in our grade knew about it, was because they were all over every group chat you can imagine. Now for the aftermath, what happened after? I leave the office and I'm thinking, man, I gotta get back to Veronica. So that night, I emailed my teacher, Mr. Vasquez, my history teacher, who I had the same class with Veronica, my history class, telling him, listen, Mr. Vasquez, everyone in that class is cheating on the tests and quizzes. Everyone but 3 kids. The 3 kids that actually tried in school, in our class. And pretty much every week, every other week, we would have a quiz. Every other week, we would have a test. Those weeks would alternate. And everybody, well, Veronica, her friend who's in her clique, would take the test and exam in first period, and she would give the answers to Veronica. And Veronica, when she got to class, well, I went with her because we had the same class. Well, not like. Point is, when we got to history class, she would airdrop the answers, and everyone would receive them because everybody wanted that, all but 3 students. And we would all pass the test with flying colors. And I told Mr. Vasquez all of this in the email. And the names I was giving, giving him all the students I hated. I was giving him all their names, dude. He emailed me back saying, thanks for letting me know. For whatever reason, the next morning, I was in his class. I don't know why I was in his class, but he said, he was telling me, dude, that was pretty cool what you did, Malta. And I said, yeah, dude, I know, I'm a pretty cool guy. He just told me what I did was cool, okay? And I said, yeah, dude, it's the right thing to do. And I also told him, just forgot to mention this, but I told him, if you don't believe me, change up the answers on the tests and quizzes. Just change the order of them. In next quiz/test, you're gonna see everybody's gonna get the exact same grade. They're gonna get the exact same answers wrong, dude. And he did that. And the 3 students, they passed with an A. I passed with a B because I actually studied because I knew it was coming. About a week later, this all occurred in February or March. Point is that this shit was around Hispanic Heritage Month. And in Hispanic Heritage, Mr. Vasquez hung up on the roof the flag of the Hispanic countries, right? And one day he has everybody, we're gonna do a group project about Hispanic heritage. So everybody go to the flag that is your nationality. And half the kids in the class go into the country they were born in. The other half, they go to a country that they have an ancestor from that country. And every flag has somewhere between 4 to 8 students, dude. Pretty big class for only 100 kids in my grade, to be honest. But I was the only one in the whole school born in Venezuela, so I'm under the Venezuelan flag with this other dude that his mom was from Venezuela. That's what he told me. So the teacher telling us, oh, we're gonna do this big project and it's due next class, which is next week. And he's telling us, you gotta come with a poster board, and you gotta talk about the country, you gotta talk about the food, the heritage, five political figures, 5 actors. You gotta talk about the music, you gotta talk about the culture. He's having us do a whole science project with motherfucking poster board and everything. A whole science fair. So, you know, me and my one partner was we talking about, oh yes, pequeños, oh arepas, you know. And next week it's time for next week comes, and it's the day that the project is due. And me and this dude, we have both first period homeroom and second period history together. And when probably 5 minutes before the bell rang, we were supposed to go to second period, I said, holy shit, I didn't do the project. And the motherfucker who was in my group didn't even show up to school. So me, I'm high as hell because I was high every day in high school. Not proud of it, not saying I'm proud of it, but just to tell you kind of what's going on in my head. When the bell rings, dude, I'm walking over, I'm on the path walking over to history class, and I'm thinking, dude, what can I do, man? And I said, man, you know what, I'm just gonna go to the bathroom and I'm gonna do the project right there. So I go to the bathroom, I take out a journal from my book bag, I rip out a page from the journal, dude, from a composition notebook. So this shit already looks half-assed as fuck. And I write Venezuela, and I'm writing a whole bunch of shit on the paper, dude. And I just said, man, I can't do this, dude. This is never gonna slide. So what I did instead was I walked over to class, right? And I walked in something like 10 minutes late. So everybody was already sitting down, and it was quiet as hell when I walked in. You could hear a pin drop. And I'm walking over, instead of going on my chair, I'm going over to the teacher. And I'm walking over there, I'm walking slow as fuck. And everybody is staring at me, dude. Everybody's staring because it's quiet as hell. And I'm making loudest footsteps in the class because I'm walking with my boots. And everybody's, when I go up to Mr. Vasquez, dude, just imagine this shit, me saying, dude, Mr. Vasquez, you think you can go on Google Images and print something for me? And everybody in the class is thinking, oh my God, what's this motherfucker gonna do now? And cause they think, oh, that's just Malta being Malta. And he said, yeah, sure, man. And then he goes on Google Images, and I told him, look up a picture of a goat. And the motherfucker looks up goat on Google Images, and then I'm looking through the pictures right there. Everybody could see what's going on because he has his computer connected to the Paranoia board. So everything he's doing is being projected to the board. And then I'm looking through the picture, I find one, or he found it, I was just looking at them, of a man standing next to a goat. It's a black and white picture. And I tell him, dude, you think you could print that shit for me, dude? And he said, yeah, man. And then he printing that shit. He prints the picture, he gives it to me, and I'm walking over to my seat real slow. You know, most kids are laughing, some aren't amused at all. And the group start presenting. They're going up to the front of the class with a fancy poster board and 10-minute presentations, and Mr. Vasquez is typing up everybody's grade as soon as they finish. So everyone's getting either 70%, 80%, nothing higher than 85%. And I'm the second to last group. When it's time for Venezuela to go up there, Vasquez says, Mr. Diaz, are you ready? And I said, I get up, I'm walking over to the front of the class real slow. I take out the picture of the man and the goat. And I say, this is Hector Ramirez. This is one of the most important men to ever live in Venezuela, because he was the first man to start a billy goat farm in Venezuela. And this was a huge influence to the goat milk market in Venezuela, and missing kids were in the back of the goat milk cartons. And I give the paper, right as soon as I said, I give the paper to Mr. Vasquez. Some kids are cracking up, and I turn around, I'm walking over to my seat real slow. Mr. Vasquez starts clapping, dude. And when Mr. Vasquez is clapping, the whole class starts clapping with him. And he gave me 100. He gave me 100 right there, dude. He gave me 100%. I couldn't believe it. Class ends and I'm walking slow to Mr. Vasquez's desk to thank him. And at the same time, one of the chicks that was in Veronica's group also walking over to his desk to complain about the grade that they got, because Veronica's group had the lowest grade out of all the projects. And this chick is telling Mr. Vasquez, this isn't fair. You literally printed a picture from Malta at the beginning of class and then you told that bullshit story and you gave him 100. We came with an actual project and you gave us a 60. And Mr. Vasquez looks at her and says, haven't you ever heard of you scratch my back, I scratch your back? And then he turns to me and he winks. And I'm walking backwards with a big smile on my face. I didn't say anything. I just walking backwards. I turned around and I left the class, dude. I guess that was the case. So what goes around comes around, dude. And Mr. Vasquez, if you're out there somewhere watching this video, your name's not Mr. Vasquez. You know who you are. If you're watching this video, dude, I want to say thank you, dude. That was so cool, man. Appreciate it. And that's the story. That's all I gotta say. Thank you for watching, and rock and roll.